Did you know that this is the national flag of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? And not this? My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo. Today we are going to deal with a series that is called Lest We Forget. And we are going to deal with the Right Honorable Robert Milton Cato. On the 27th of October 1969, the Right Honorable Milton Cato led St. Vincent and the Grenadines into statehood. As soon as the ink on the instrument that awarded St. Vincent and the Grenadines statehood were dry, Milton Cato began thinking about independence. He had a set plan in his head as how to achieve independence. The pursuit of statehood and the pursuit of independence were two different and distinct objectives. To acquire statehood, the Right Honorable Milton Cato proved that Vincentians were capable of prudent management of the resources of the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and he proved it in the way he administered the affairs of the government of St. Vincent. However, in convincing the Crown, they should give St. Vincent and the Grenadines independence, the objective is far different. The Right Honorable Milton Cato had to now prove that the locals are able to grow the economy, provide employment, and secure the social network of the island without the aid of the Crown. Milton Cato is known to be very brilliant and deliberate in his planning. Immediately, Milton Cato began to put the legal and social framework in place in pursuit of independence. In 1970, Milton Cato started the National Insurance Scheme. Hold up. Did you see that Milton Cato started the National Insurance Scheme? That was started by Sir James Mitchell, wasn't it? Let me explain. In 1970, Right Honorable Robert Milton Cato started what was called the National Providence Fund. The National Providence Fund was the institution under which Vincentians can now receive social benefits such as pension, death benefits, or a permanent disability benefit. Prior to 1970, Vincentians were required to work until their body were unable to carry them anymore, after which they had to depend on the generosity of their friends and family to see them through their old age. The three main benefits that was offered by the National Providence Fund were to deal with some of the critical problems Vincentians were experiencing. However, as time goes on, Prime Minister Milton Cato realized the National Providence Fund could offer more social service, and in 1982 he had drafted an amendment to the National Providence Fund law, which was Act Number 1 of 1970, to include more benefits and more service for the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But before the amendment could have been passed in the House of Parliament, James Mitchell became Prime Minister. James Mitchell saw an opportunity to put his name and to take credit for an institution he knew nothing about. As a result, instead of passing the amendment as was drafted by Prime Minister Cato, James Mitchell took the opportunity to repeal Act Number 1 of 1970 and pass Act Number 33 of 1986, which was the National Insurance Scheme Bill. What James Mitchell was trying to do, he was trying to replicate what Columbus did when he came to the West Indies. He changed the names of the islands in the Caribbean, and he claimed he discovered those islands. James Mitchell aimed that program, which was started by the Right Honorable Milton Cato, as a program that he started. But the truth is, as Columbus did not discover St. Vincent and the Grenadines, James Mitchell is not the father of the National Insurance Scheme. The Right Honorable Milton Cato was also responsible for starting NBC 705 Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When you go onto NBC Radio 705 website, it gives you a long convoluted story as it relates to the history of Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the information that is provided on that website is not a history of Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is a history of radio in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines started in 1971 under the instruction of Milton Cato. Prior to the 1971 instruction from Milton Cato to start broadcasting as Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Vincent and the Grenadines receive radio signal from Grenada, the Windward Islands Broadcasting Service, WIBS. When WIBS refused to send signal to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 1971, it is Milton Cato who gave the instructions for the Radio St. Vincent to start broadcasting. This marked the start of Radio St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which was later renamed by James Mitchell to the National Broadcasting Corporation. Milton Cato had to prove to the Crown that the locals are capable of developing the country. Milton Cato understood the real development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines must start with and end with Vincentians. Therefore, Milton Cato took this task serious and personal. He went about to all of his associates and colleagues, and he encouraged them to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. For example, his colleague, Mr. Randolph Russell, he encouraged Randolph Russell, who had the means to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a result, Randolph Russell went in pursuit for a Coca-Cola franchise. He got that Coca-Cola franchise, he built a factory, and for many years were producing Coca-Cola, SBC, and Fanta right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they were shipped to the other Windward Islands and Barbados. Milton Cato understood the majority of the people did not have access to money, but they had access to land. As a result, he started building roads to give easy access to lands that easy access was not readily available. At this stage of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' history, banana was still king. Now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines were shipping a weekly supply of bananas to England, a weekly supply of other agricultural products to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and to Canada. The Canadian market were opened by the Freitas brothers via its company, the Eastern Caribbean Agency Limited. At this stage of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' history, the coconut factory were outdated and it was not profitable to operate. However, Milton Cato knew hundreds of families of St. Vincent and the Grenadines depended on the preparation and sales of copper to stay afloat. As a result, Milton Cato began to subsidize the operation of the coconut oil factory, keeping an income stream to hundreds of families of St. Vincent and the Grenadines open while allowing the operators of the factory to make a profit. Milton Cato also started the industrial estate at Camden Park, where he invited foreign companies to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to mass produce their product in order to get established companies to uproot their current operation from one part of the world to come to St. Vincent to operate, Milton Cato had to make it very attractive for them to do so. And in the same breath, Milton Cato have to also make it very attractive for locals with the means to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Milton Cato offered those companies 10 years duty-free concession and a 10 years tax-free concession. Milton Cato fully understood that the taxes that is derived from companies that are operated in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will never be sufficient to build the country. But Milton Cato's objective was to get every last Vincentian working. And the low-income factory jobs were one way of putting Vincentians who were otherwise unoccupied to becoming gainfully employed. Sir James Mitchell, who did not understand the plans of the Right Honorable Milton Cato, began to complain that Milton Cato is allowing foreign companies to take advantage of our country. Thousands of Vincentians who were otherwise unemployed found low-income employment at the Camden Park Industrial Estate. Even the popular lawn tennis racket-making company Wilson had an operation in Camden Park. In the 1970s, each time you see lawn tennis players such as John McEnroe, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, and the likes playing with a Wilson racket, that racket would have been made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by Vincentians. It was Milton Cato who encouraged Sir Philip Vera to go shopping for a flour mill, with the assurance that his government will do everything in its power to facilitate the establishment of a flour mill, even investing up to 20% of the cost of the flour mill. At the Camden Park Experimental Station, the government owned a herd of cattle. These cattle were used to produce milk for the government institutions. They provide milk for the hospital, the prison, the poor home, the Milton home, leper home, and the TB home. Milton Cato decided that he can take the operation that was happening at Experimental Station a step further. Therefore, he caused to be instituted the Diamond Dairy Factory. The Diamond Dairy Factory produced dairy product that supplies all the government institutions as well as fruit juices, which were also offered for sale on the shelf in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well as in the Caribbean. Milton Cato was fully aware if he was going in pursuit of independence, he have to improve the health service of the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Colonial Hospital or the Kingston General Hospital were the hospital that provide medical care for Vincentians from all over the country. The Colonial Hospital or the Kingston General Hospital was well staffed and well equipped with the best practitioners and medication money could have purchased. Milton Cato were well aware that he had to decentralize the health service as was offered in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a result, he constructed small hospitals in Mespo, Georgetown, Chateaubelair, and Beckwith. Each of these medical facilities had an ambulance attached to it to ensure in the event anyone in the district become ill or injured, they can be easily transported to the nearest medical facility. All doctor visits, hospital stays, medication and other government services are provided free without cost. With St. Vincent and the Grenadines being a plural country with multiple islands, it was not reasonable for Milton Cato to go in pursuit of independence unless St. Vincent and the Grenadines were able to patrol its waters and to enforce its maritime laws. As a result, Milton Cato was responsible for starting the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Coast Guard service. He ensured all of the men that were assigned to the Coast Guard had the best training money could have afforded. The land in St. Vincent and the Grenadines were yielding its bliss, and the farmers were working hard. There was always a surplus of agricultural product. As a result, Milton Cato started the Marketing Corporation. The Marketing Corporation was supposed to be the machinery that was responsible for finding markets for the farmers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and for facilitating the shipment of those products to their destination. The Right Honorable Milton Cato was responsible for getting the unemployment figures down to single digits. Now everyone was working. St. Vincent and the Grenadines had a weekly export of bananas to England, a weekly export of various agricultural products to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and to Canada. There were about 50 factories at the industrial estate that provided employment to thousands of Vincentians. Our economy have grown tremendously. Milton Cato did not feel right to go in pursuit of independence unless the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines had its own banking institution. As a result, he started the National Commercial Bank. When Milton Cato started the National Commercial Bank, at this stage of St. Vincent and the Grenadines history, we had operated in St. Vincent and the Grenadines the Barclays Bank, the Royal Bank of Canada, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, the Agricultural Loan Bank, and Ford Penny Bank. James Mitchell's opinion was St. Vincent and the Grenadines already had too many banks. It is a waste of time for Milton Cato to go in pursuit and start a National Commercial Bank. Milton Cato ignored all of the opposition and pressed forward. The National Commercial Bank became the pride of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and even served James Mitchell administration for 17 years faithfully. It is important to note that although James Mitchell was in high opposition to the establishment of the National Commercial Bank, he later went on to grant license to hundreds of banks to operate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Milton Cato will stop at nothing at the development of the country and at the development of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. By the time Milton Cato went shopping to the Crown for independence, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' GDP had far surpassed that of the GDP of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even before adult suffrage, where the island's economy was managed by the Crown. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the diaspora machismo.